All right, let me share my screen and then Dustin will get started. Yay. And I'm going to ask the age-old question. Can everybody see my screen? Take it away, Dustin.
All right. So good morning. So what we've done is finally got to the point to where we can use the CRM a little more than we've been using it, which has been absolutely nothing up until November when Adana went around with the branches and the contact center of using 4 insights interactions. But now we're going to move forward. The first thing you're going to do, whether you're in test mode or when we go live, when you open up your transaction tab window, over here under KeyInsight, you're going to see there's a little binoculars. You're going to click on that. And what you need to make sure is on both current view and default view that your mode says interaction with opportunity grouping on both current view and default view. And once you do that and it says that, you can click OK. Now, if you have 2 screens, you can watch my demo and you can practice alongside, or you can watch it and then go back and watch this video.
And I will say too, folks, if you move a workstation, or if you've never set those KeyInsight filters, please remember to do so. The reason that we do that is so that you can see every interaction once you change the mode within that filter. Go ahead, that's
right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull up any member. We're going to use Angela Dillon. So for this training purpose, in the script I'm going to use in a moment, we're going to use telereferral. I will do a contact center referral. I will do a commercial referral. I'll do a mortgage referral. So that way, when we go to the queues, each of your departments should be able to see. Now, in test mode, it's very important if you log in a test when we get through this to make sure you can get in, because some of the permissions have not been updated. So I will need to know if you cannot enter an interaction or be able to view your queue. But see, this one's already here. But what we're going to do is in the top right, beside run script, there's this white box. So for the very first time, you're going to type in the word VA. And you're going to see it's going to pop up Valley Star KeyInsight. What you're going to do is you're going to click on that, and it's going to open the script. So because we're a member-centric system, we're inside Miss Dillon. Now, sometimes the name will not populate by the member name here, but as long as you get the box that says choose interaction type that you can do, you can click on and get some drop-down information, you're fine to move forward. Now, if you don't get this box, just simply X out of the script. And then once you typed it one time, you can click on run script and it will be there, and just pull the script back up. So once you do that, so let's say that Miss Dillon was in the branch and I was talking with her about getting a credit card, and she's very interested. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on and I'm going to search for telereferral. Now in live, in alphabetical order. So test is kind of all over the place in a sense. So you're clicking on telereferral. Now you notice once you click on telereferral, the interaction type, all this other stuff opens up. So what you're going to do at this point, you're just going to go down box by box until we get finished. The opportunity type, when you select it, it's only going to give you one type, which is going to match your interaction. So we're going to click on that. The third box will always be the member account number. Now, some of you may choose a member that has 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 account numbers. But luckily my member only has one, so I'm going to choose it. Now you see that it says shares for selected account once you click an account number. Now, if you're doing tests and your member has loans on their profile, you will get an additional box to the right here that will say loans for selected account. And when you click on it, you'll be able to see which loans that have for that member. But what you can always do regardless is when you select the member account number, for the shares purposes, just choose the savings account associated with that member account and then move forward. This box right here, the KeyInsight note box, is probably the most important piece on this entire script, other than choosing the correct interaction and opportunity type. The key notes, this is where you're going to insert what notes that you want to go into your interaction that when it leaves and goes and creates an opportunity and goes into a work queue for someone else to pick up, that they don't look and say, what in the world is Dustin talking about? I have no idea. It should be very clear and precise on what the member is looking for or what is needing to be done. For test purposes only, what we do is just put the word test, and then you can put your initials or you can put numbers. It doesn't matter. But what you would put, I would normally put member interested in credit card, looking for a phone call at 3 p.m. or whenever they want to see, or if they're going to come in and make an appointment. After you put your notes in, your last box to select is interaction channels. You're going to click on the drop down. Now we see in test we have Opportunity. That won't be in live. That's a James Newland thing. So give him a shout out when you see him. But I'm going to choose branch because the member was in the branch with me. Once I fill out all of this, the script is done. And it took longer because I'm talking about it. But once you do it, you can have this filled out in less than a minute, really.
Now this will change the way that tellers do their referrals. It will no longer be as of June 2nd. Please don't do any of this in live until June 2nd. But come June 2nd, the referrals that go in no longer need to be using the green plus button. We have a script written and it makes everything streamlined and you know exactly the fields that you need to fill out. I think that is amazing. Go ahead.
That's correct. So this is the information that is needed because if you remember the old way we were doing it, when we clicked on this plus button, you had to fill all this information in, and then to create opportunity, you would have to click this button and then fill all of this in. So I'm sure you can see on your screen how cumbersome and long that would be. So with our lovely script that we've had created, it only has this information that is required, and we can move forward. So once you've got it filled out, you're going to click submit, and you should get this gray box that says success. If you get this gray box, you are on track. Once you click OK, it will take you back to the member profile screen. If you hit refresh in your KeyInsight box at the bottom, we're going to see teller referral that we just put in. So if you're in your test system, let us know if you got a successful success.
Is anyone following along with us? If you're not, that's okay. We just would like to know so that we can judge how long we're doing this. Crystal, yes, thank you. Amanda, good.
Great. Lisa, good
Thanks,
job.
Lisa.
All right. So before I move forward to moving with the cues, do you have any questions on what I just did with the script and why we're using it this way? Any questions on that? All right. If no questions, I'm going to just real fast. I'm going to do a few more. That way, when we go to the cue section.
I think Lisa has her hand raised.
Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
Lisa?
Okay, I'm sorry. What was the box that you clicked on the KeyInsight? The very first thing you did. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that part.
No problem. It's if you see them where it says KeyInsight, you see those 4 little boxes there. It's the binoculars. So you'll click on that, and you make sure that your current view and default view on the mode says interaction with opportunity grouping.
Okay. Thank you.
And then once you do that, it's okay. Okay, I see. We got one. That one from Kia. Awesome. Great job. I see it. All right. So I'm just going to do a few more real fast. That way, each department, when we get over, we can see. So let's say that this member was in and wanted a commercial referral. Well, I would choose commercial referral. I could choose her account number. I'm going to choose savings. And I'm just going to put in test. Put in what she's looking to do. She was in our branch. And you see how fast that was. I mean, it was very fast. Hit submit, and it's going to go into the commercial referral test.
I don't have all the cues, just so you know.
Okay. And then who else do we have on here? We have branch, we have commercial.
Right.
Contact center.
Card service.
Okay.
Trudy, if you don't mind, could you keep an eye on the chat because we're having to share a computer, so that would really be helpful. Thank you.
Yes, I'm in there right now, actually.
Wonderful, thanks.
For contact center, let's say that the member was doing a wire. What is it working?
So is this something that eventually is going to somewhat replace the help desk?
It's
Or is
very
it-
possible that it could, Dawn. The whole idea is using this system to keep everything within the core where we have data in there, a record of it. I know that what we have done to create our help desks, group emails, things like that. We worked really hard to do that, and we are not saying that June 2nd, all of that goes away. But what we do want to do is try to get everybody moving toward this way so that we can hopefully one day eliminate those things, but maybe not necessarily for every department.
So right now it's just sort of an addition to,
Yes,
but
yes,
it's more departmental specific.
correct. And,
Okay.
you know, as we get used to what this system can do, if you guys within your departments and working in your day-to-day job, the training department doesn't know everything that you do. So what we want to say is there is so much collaborative efforts that can happen within this system and within this script that if you see something within your daily functions that you feel could be an interaction or an opportunity, please reach out to Dustin and let him know, and we may be able to work to get that in there because we bought this Maserati of a system and we're using it like a Ford Pinto. So we've got to get to the point where we can utilize all these wonderful functions within the system to make our lives more efficient. Innovation is a core value.
And a shout out because Diane and her team have already been using the queues for a while, so we know that it's made their lives easier dealing with cards and things like that. So good job. So Dawn, to your point, and I was to go ahead and talk about this one. No policies or procedures are changing June 2nd. If there's a policy procedure out there, you continue doing it. You might have to do 2 steps until we get it up, but there's an opportunity in there called referred to member solutions. Now, what this would be used for would be a preventative measure only. So let's say that a member came in and they had an auto loan that was due on the 22nd, but they tell us, hey, I'm not going to be able to pay that until June 2nd. My basement flooded with all this rain we had, and it's just no way I can pay it. So the teller or the RS or contact center could use that because as of today, the loan's not past due and there's no red flags. So we could put that note in there that member came in and said their basement flooded, unable to make their payment until June 2nd. It will then go over to Member Solutions queue, and then y'all's team would see that and then could handle it how y'all would normally handle things, or at least it would be on the radar. So when it went past due, you would have the information in hand already. So it's only a preventative measure. If you're supposed to call Member Solutions, if the accounts are past due or whatever, you continue doing what you should do. So only use referred to Member Solutions as a preventative measure. Jessica?
Not changing anything. Go ahead, Jessica.
Good morning. Thank you guys for this training. Just a quick question. How or will there be any sort of notification for the Member Solutions team when this interaction is added, or is it just showing up on that account for when that time comes for us to look at it?
No, so it's going to go into a queue, and once we get there, after we get done showing about the script, when we open the queue, I'll show you. It will go into a queue, so they'll be able to see it.
Yeah, and the expectation, Jessica, thank you for bringing this up, but the expectation is if you are a department that has a queue to keep an eye on, management is probably going to be having some conversations about how they want to handle that because training is not going to dictate to your department how you handle your queue. So that can be a conversation to be had in the upcoming days. But just to let you know, it is our expectation that those departments that have queues, you should just go ahead and pull your queue up, keep it there because you can work within Keystone having that queue there and you can just toggle back and forth to that tab.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Beverly, did you have a question?
I did. Would this cut down emails, how we emailing various departments
That is the
regarding?
plan. That is the plan.
Now, it will not be a June 2nd because, as I said, we're going to be starting this. So we want to make sure that we're still following what we should do. But yes, absolutely, that's the goal. So, for instance, like for the contact center, you have the member request email that is being used. So there's going to be this queue where you can choose member request and fill out all the information in this box, and it will go into the member request queue, which will then go to the 3 branch locations that that handle those, and then they can either handle them or they can forward them to other branches if need be. So at first you might have you're going to have an email and an interaction in the script if you need to. But then hopefully we get to the point where that gets changed. Now I want to say that because we've had the question, you will not necessarily need to use this for every member, every transaction. This is not the purpose of that. This is for when you need some help from another department, or in the teller's case, they have a referral. Otherwise, you're just going to do what you do in your daily jobs. You're only going to use this section really when it's needed. So that's something else that has been a question.
You could sign in here too.
Justin, I have another question. Will this help out with the follow-up? Because there are times the contact center has to follow up with various departments to make sure that they called that member and there was no answer. And then because we let our team know that it's such and such call, they need to
Right.
contact such and such.
It is our expectation that when you enter this interaction and it goes into a queue, it is the responsibility of the department that has that queue to be watching it. Your job is done.
Okay, thank you.
Supportive work environment, mutual success. We could plug a whole bunch of core values in here, as well as service standards. So this is where everyone comes together to live out our mission, right? Employees first, members benefit. Everything we do is for the benefit of the member. And if we use the system the way it was designed to be used, it will make our jobs easier and our life more efficient. If there is nothing else that excites me, it is the ability that we can create efficiency in our daily lives.
Winner, winner.
Winner, winner.
So before we move forward, anything else? Do you notice how there's open books for each one of these opportunities that's been created? So anytime that you see a book that's open, that means the opportunity is either not been worked or it's in the process of being worked. What will happen is once it gets worked, this book will be closed, and then you will know that that it's done. I'll show you one that has been closed. Hopefully. Of course. None of them been closed.
Because you're signed into me.
Oh, wait, here we go. So we see on this one how the book is a dark blue. That's how you know the opportunity has been closed. So if you see a dark blue book, the opportunity is closed. What I will say is, let's say for this travel notification here, or this wire that I put in, let's say that I put the form was emailed over for this amount, but I forgot to add additional notes. I can click on the book. It will open up the interaction that I put in and the opportunity, and I can type in any additional information that I need to type in and hit update. And when I update it, it's going to go to the contact center to see the notes that were in there because it's in their queue. So as long as the book is open, you can do any updates. Is there any questions on using the script itself? Does it seem pretty easy, more simple, or what do you think?
Can you show us exactly, especially for me, how you got there? I know you clicked on the binoculars down at the bottom.
Now that's just for your filters. Up at the very top of the page, right beside additional options, Beverly, you have something that says run script. For those of you that work with Skip-a-Pay, that's how you do Skip-a-Pay, right? There's a Skip-a-Pay script. It's the same way with the KeyInsight for these interactions and opportunities. It's right up there, run script. If you simply start typing VA, you will see it populate. As
Okay.
Dustin said, you type it one time, and then the next time you go into it, you'll be able to just click on it. Just hit that drop down and click on that Valley Star KeyInsight.
Okay.
Monteith, do you have a question?
Yes. Like say for instance, member, are we able to do like attachments in this?
Not at this moment, but that's going to be another phase.
Thank you for
Okay.
bringing that up. Where Dustin came from, now he has 6 years of experience on this system, okay? So he is our guru. Thank you, Dustin. But it's going to take a while, okay? Those of you that have been here with Valley Star, we know we do things slow. We do things in a phased out approach. And that's on purpose because we don't want to overload anybody. We know you have a lot going on. So this system will be ever evolving. So eventually we want to have the documents in there, for instance, wire transfers. They put in an interaction, then they know they got to scan that wire form over, right? We want to be able to have that all within the one interaction in a nice little tidy area. We're not there yet, but we will get there. But we're going to roll this out this way, and understanding you can put in the interaction notes, emailed form over, whatever it may be. Dustin is going to sign in himself since he was having computer troubles because he has access to all the queues. So that's why you're seeing. There we are. Thank you for your patience.
So now we're going to move forward. There's no other questions on the script, or if there is, you can continue raising your hand. But for those of us that will be having queues to work, now, if it's a teller, they only need to know how to do the script because they're not going to have a queue. They're not going to be working anything. So their job, that's it, if it's just a teller. Now, for us to have queues, at the top of your screen, when you have your dashboard open, you see where it says Task Manager. Click on that, and then there's a button that says Queues. You're going to click on that.
Task Manager, queues.
So is everybody there that can get in? And if anybody cannot get in, just put in the chat that you got an error message saying that you don't have permissions.
This is a queue. Dustin has access to all queues, so you're going to see a whole lot of stuff in there. Actually, there's 181 pages of interactions. Who's been testing? Who's been testing? Dustin has.
All right, so if you have your queue opened up, or if you're just watching along, so your very first time that you open up your queue, Adonis sent out in the invitation, there is some documentations in there, and one of them has it's a front and back page that has a diagram of this box and then the opportunity box as well. But I'm gonna go through this real fast. So at the very top of your screen, if your box that says collapse list on checkout has a blue check mark in it, I highly suggest you unclicking that. And then these two boxes that say auto refresh, visible task, and auto resort and refilter, I suggest that those be checked. And then when those are checked, the next box, it says resort refilter frequency. It's automatically set to 5 minutes, but if you click on that, you have the choice. Do you want your thing to refresh every 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes? I think 5 minutes is good just because we know we're going to be working and but if you're an overachiever and want it refreshed 1 minute, absolutely go ahead and change it to 1 minute, 2 minutes, or whatever. Or you can always just click the refresh button at the top as well, and that will refresh your queue. The next box that says work task options, you want to make sure it always says my available task. Now, if it says my available task, if you are assigned to a queue and there's something in it, you will see it here. If you have a queue and there's nothing in it, then great. Either somebody's worked it or there's nothing in your queue at this moment. The next box, this active sorting, is automatically set to descending. If you want to change it from the oldest at the top and work your way down to the newest, then you just click on the arrow and it will change it, or vice versa. I like mine to have the newest stuff at the top and then work my way down.
This is totally customizable to you. If you are a person that will be working in a queue, the reason that we are taking the time to show you these things is because you can check it out. You can check boxes, uncheck boxes, click things to see how it responds, to see if that's the information that you want. But as Dustin moves through this next section, this is our recommendation to see the important information that comes into your queue based on the interaction or opportunity that's in there.
So in your display fields, what we have determined, even from my past life, work queue, user, priority, queue time, and started time is what I recommend being checked. But once again, when you start working this, like, if you're in card services, that's your queue. So you might not want to have work queue on there because anything that comes in here is going to be card services. Or whatever it may be. But anytime, like, you can check on something and it will put it up top here in your screen. If I uncheck it, it just removes it. So it's very, very customizable any way you want to do it.
Isn't that lovely?
And then you're going to scroll down to where it says opportunity, and you're going to click on opportunity, and it's going to open up this box. Description and stage, this pretty much really should be your mandatory 2 settings, because it gives you the description and it puts the stage, whether it's open or closed or in process. So those are really, really important. As we said before, card services is already using this, so they kind of have an up on everybody else. But once we all start using it and get it accustomed, it should really help on being more efficient. It should cut down on emails, because we know emails can easily get lost, or they can get read, and then I'm going to do that later and then I forget about it. So anything is possible, but with this, it's going to be in the queue. So there's going to be a tracking record of when it got put in, where it went to. So that's important. But once you have all your settings corrected the way you want to do it, now you'll have to do this anytime you change workstations. Or if you're doing tests for the first time, you'll have to change this as well. But once you get it done, you can click the little chevron tab and it will close it, and it gives you a cleaner screen.
You also have some options up in that queue where if you have a lot of information up there and you find yourself needing more real estate, Dustin is showing you that you can simply move that over and give yourself some more area. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful.
So, all right. So now, if I'm in card services, and Diane, I'm working on your issue, so just hold with me. The card services queue. So if anybody in card services, if you have your queue open, you should be seeing this in your queue as of now. Anybody in card services, do y'all see that in the queue?
Well, none of us can get into the test site, so we're following along.
Okay. Okay. Well, when you can get in, let me know.
Okay. Well,
okay. So
the card services queue is in the test right now. Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was your issue that you're working on.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to open it up. So if I'm working in card services, and now notice here there's no information. I don't know if you saw when I was doing the interaction a moment ago, but in the test system, we're having some difficulties with errors dealing with the card ones, and there's a few others. And so you can't choose the opportunity stage. I have to just skip it. But if you notice, you will always see an explanation down here at the bottom, even if there's no information in the opportunity. It will always be here because the person putting the information in that box on the script, that's their job. They're the I in this scenario. So I see that says going to Mexico on 5/23. What normally would happen is if this was in live and everything was working correctly, it should be up here for card services to see, and let's just say it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So what would happen? I'm just going to update it real fast. So what would happen if I was working this and I was doing what our lovely card services department does to put the travel notices on? So I've got it completed. So when you're completing an opportunity, there's 3 boxes that always has to be filled out: the resolution type, the resolution explanation, and then the stage. So in this case, the resolution type, I'm going to do the drop down and I'm going to say it's completed because I've done it. And then I would put my notes in. So I would just say, normally I would say completed. I can't type. Completed travel notice. And I always suggest putting your initials after whatever you put in here. Now, if I think, okay, I'm done, my resolution, I've completed what was needing to be done, I put my note in, and I hit update, you're going to get this error message because, oh, I forgot, I've got one more step that I have to change, the stage, and it's telling me the resolution type must be blank if I'm using this stage. Well, no, because my type is completed. I need that. So I'm just going to hit close and then go up here to stage. If you just highlight that and hit your backspace button, and remember, if you have this little thing, that's your down arrow. So it's going to give me closed, escalated, or open, because normally it's open. I'm going to close it. At this point, when I hit update, it's going to update the system, and it's going to close out the interaction. Adana's favorite piece to this whole opportunity section that's going to help everybody, make everybody's life much easier. If you notice, we're in the opportunity, but right beside it, it says Angela Dillon. If I click on this, it opens her profile inside of the opportunity, so I don't have to go back to transaction, pull her up, click back and forth. It's all there. And then this little chevron opens the tree. Yay! So everything you need to do the opportunity is right at your hands anytime. You need a phone number, it's there. You can match it up. Oh, they said call 3 o'clock. This number, I can double check to make sure that's the same number that's on the system. So it's really, really simple and easy and enjoyable.
And efficient.
So before I hit close, you see right now, as I said, the book is open. So when I go back here, because I've done my 3 steps and I hit update, it's going to tell me that it was updated. If I look at the book, look what happened. The book is now closed.
Wow.
And the other thing, if you noticed, if I hit refresh, it took it out of the queue up here because it's now done. It's no longer there. I'm ready to move on to my next one. So contact center, same thing. So you would see your information. It would say the form got me emailed over. Y'all would pull it up. You would choose your resolution type, transfer complete, put your notes in there, change the stage to done.
Done. Hit
update. And once again, the book is now closed. It's that simple.
It's not building rockets.
It's not rocket science.
We're talking a whole lot more than it's going to take time for you to learn this. This is just yet another part of the system, again, that allows collaboration. It allows us to benefit the member even more. And it also promotes accountability. Accountability is ownership. It is not a bad word. So again, managers, if you have a department that's responsible for queues, you're probably going to want to have some conversations about the expectation in who's watching it, who's picking up the tasks, which we'll look at in just a second. How do you check out a task? But it's really up to you as far as how you want to handle that. There is flexibility here. We just want to make sure that somebody is watching this queue. I will tell you that if there are several people watching the queue and 2 people try to pick up the same opportunity, it will not let 2 people do work in one opportunity. So the first person that picks it up is going to have the ability to complete everything. The other one is probably going to get things that are grayed out as far as checking out the task. Okay.
Yeah, and I will say, so, and I should have showed you at this beginning, it's my bad. So if I was in commercial, this would be in their queue. It would show that there was a referral for this member. And if I was going to work it, I would click on this task action drop down, and it gives me 5 little boxes and choices here. Check out task, which if I click that, that's going to assign it to me, and I'm the only one that can work it. Set next work task will mean if, let's say that the member doesn't want to be called until 5:25. Well, I can click on that and I can schedule it out to 5:25. That way it removes it from the queue so it doesn't show in there, won't show on an email in 24 hours of not being worked, because it has already been worked, because you would put notes in the resolution explanation type without changing anything, and it would go into there. The forward task would be if you needed to send it to another person or department, you can do it that way. If I'm working this and then I say, well, I'm going out, I will not be in the rest of the day and I need to put it back into the queue for somebody else, I would unassign it. That's what that one is. And then the 5th option, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to use it for the time being. So we're not going to update tasks.
And Dustin did mention one thing. He said that there is a way that you can avoid the escalation of not being worked in 24 hours and that message going to managers. Here's the thing. If these opportunities sit in this queue for more than 24 hours, then the manager is going to get a notification saying that there are items that have not been worked. Okay. At this point, that is the notification that will be going out. We don't have it set up where everybody's going to get emails, because Dustin found out it's either all or nothing. He's in every queue, and as people were starting to work through this and testing was going, he was getting like 85, 90 emails. Okay. So what we've done is we put that escalation notification to the managers after 24 hours.
Yep. All right. So let's just say by mistake that this went to commercial, and let's say the commercial department calls Miss Dillon and she said, oh no, I didn't want a business account. I was actually looking for a mortgage referral. I'm sorry that, what you could do in this case, you could back out your explanation of looking to open a business account after you talk to the member and put in there looking for mortgage. And what you will do is over here on the right side, well, you need to click update first, so that will update the note. But over here on the right side under work queue, it says commercial department. If I back that out and I start typing in mortgage, we're going to see mortgage servicing, or I'm going to see, come on. Let's see mortgage referral. Where's it at? Why is it not showing up?
Do something.
Okay. Well, this is interesting because it should give me the option to send it to mortgage referral.
And it could be because it's something with my permissions.
Maybe, but I'm in mine now.
Oh, you're in yours now. Never mind. I forgot. You signed up.
So anyways, let's say that it needed to go to another department. If they have a queue, let's say it needed to go back to Martinsville. You just would choose telereferral Martinsville and hit update. And if you notice at the top of the screen here, it changed it for me, and I'll see it. It went to Martinsville. So if I was in commercial and I refreshed my queue, it would be gone because I will have sent it to somewhere else. So you do it right there, real easy. Or also, once again, click on the task action, and you see how it's grayed out because I had moved it already. But you could forward it in that same box. So that's kind of how that works with that. What else? Let's see. So telereferral, pretty much at this point, the RSs or the managers would be working the telereferrals. You do the same thing. You resolution type, explanation, and your stage. And once you do that, update it, it will close your book out and you can move forward. I want to show one thing with the member request, which will, I think, really make a difference with helping. So let's say that I'm in the contact center and I need to do a member request because a member doesn't want to talk to someone on the phone. They want to go into a branch. They want the branch to call them for a loan. I can use the member request interaction. And you see how this one, as I said earlier, if it has loans, it would have both of them here. But what if I said the member wants Martinsville branch for auto loan, and I hit phone. All right. This is something I wanted to show you, and this is the reason I'm choosing this one. If you're in the test system and you run across, you get this error message that opportunity cannot be found. This is something that we're working through, and it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. Just hit close out and just go back through and do your script. But this time you're going to leave the opportunity type blank. Now that's going to be fixed. Fingers crossed.
Before we go live.
And go live. But so I'm going to leave it blank for a moment. I'm just going to choose a number because I always like to choose the savings at least. Don't want to put that back in there. All right, so at that point, I see that it created the member request. But if I'm in the queue, so any of you that remember, if you're in the contact center, do y'all see this in your queue? Or I'm not, no, sorry. The contact center would put this in the queue. Amanda, do you see this in your queue if you have yours open? Well, she should see this because Roanoke, Fishersville, and Rocky Mount have the 3 queues per member request. But what will happen when they get this? So let's say that Amanda's working at Fishersville. Well, she sees a note. The member wants Martinsville for an auto loan. Well, she's not going to call them. She's not in Martinsville. The same thing. She will come over here, back that out, and start typing the teller Martinsville, put it in, update it. And when she does that, it will remove it out of the member request queue and will send it back to Martinsville. So then when Martinsville will see it and they'll say, oh, Miss Smith wants an auto loan, and then they can take care of it for the member. So eventually this will hopefully eliminate the member request email because it's going to be in the system with live tracking. But moving forward on June 2nd, use the member request the function in the script, but you're also going to send the email for time being. And then there will be information coming out when we will stop doing the email, if that's what, Angela and them want to do.
So we'll say it one more time, and maybe one more time before we end.
Probably.
We will not be changing any processes, procedures, or policies concerning anything that you are doing right now. We are shifting to move toward this, but it's not going to happen June 2nd. So please, you heard from the training department. We're not telling you to stop anything that you're doing today. And there may be an overlap of a couple of different things that happen until we figure out, and other departments figure out, how they want to handle this going forward. Okay?
So what questions do you have on how to work an opportunity in the queue, or any questions about the queue?
It's not building rockets.
Somebody's got to have some questions.
It's fairly easy.
Will the instructions be in StarPoint? The steps?
We have sent it in the invite of this training. Okay, so the documents that we have been using for training are attached to this invitation. Yes, we will have them out on StarPoint before or on go live date.
Because things on the forms are changing
based on the script and how it's acting. And that's another thing. We know sometimes things don't always work properly when we're ready to go live. Rest assured, Dustin is doing everything he can working with this QSO to make sure that everything is working properly June 2nd. If it is not, you will hear communication from us stating what the next steps will be.
And I want to show you.
I have a few questions, but I didn't want to ask until you went through your training, because in case you hit you
okay.
Just talk about it.
And one more before I answer that, Diane. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So let's say that this telereferral I was working it and I seen that the member said they wanted something, and I could say spoke to member, call back on 5/23, and put my initials. This is where I would go over here under the work task, scroll down to where it says next work time, click on the clock. If I choose 5/23, and I always like to put it just at 9 a.m. and hit OK, and then update, which is right there. Very important. Why did it escalate? I shouldn't have an escalation time.
You should not.
Somebody already changed it.
Somebody.
That one's already changed it. Sorry. So what I would do there, though, I could choose the next work time, and it would take it out of the queue until that date, what we was talking about a moment ago.
And it will remove it from the queue until it's ready to be worked. And then all of a sudden it'll just pop back up. Isn't that fantastic? If you're a person who likes to keep things minimalistic and organized, that's for you. You're welcome.
All right, Diane, go ahead.
Okay, so just for that question there, so you've removed it, it's not in your queue, but what if you need to find that before that date you put in? Is there a way to find who it was? Because you're like, who was that again?
So once it's removed from the queue, it's kind of like hidden in the back burner on the queue. One of two things. If you remember the member's name, you could dig up their profile and you would see it in the profile. But the other way, there you could pull a report to see which ones are open, and it should show on there. I've never had that question, or don't even think in my 6.5 years if I've ever even thought about that, to be honest with you.
Thanks, Diane.
So
I'm just talking in the fraud world. You may put your next follow-up date for 30 days because that
Right.
could be when the merchant responds. But what if
Right.
you had a question in 15 days? You're like,
Yes.
well, who was that? Where did that come from? I mean, normally your question would come from that person, but I was just wondering when you just
I'll
said
find out.
that. So, okay.
I'll find out.
So my other questions. So looking at the interactions, there were some card fraud related options.
Yeah, let me go back. Hold on. Yes. So for card, there's like this card limit change request, and then there's these 4 here.
Yes. So this does not take the place of a member calling and reporting transactions. Just want to make sure that that process doesn't change.
We're not changing any
Yes.
processes.
I mean,
Diane.
as far as just staff knows not to use this to report fraudulent transactions for the member.
What
This
Dustin
should be more of follow-up. The member has questions, please reach out kind of thing.
What Dustin is
Instead.
going to do is he is going to create a document with all of these interactions, what they are and when to use them.
Okay.
So that is very helpful for us to know, Diane, and we will make sure to include that this would be,
because
for,
Crystal would kill me if she started getting all the fraud.
look, we are not promoting murder at all.
Not
Okay?
And I will say,
But-
for that purpose, Diane. So, for instance, let's say that the teller had a member at their window that said that they had a transaction they disputed, or they thought potential fraud, and they've already taken care of everything. Kind of like the member solutions one, where it's a preventive measure.
Yeah.
These will be used as those preventative measures in a sense. So, like if the member is there and said, "Hey, I had a fraud last month, but I don't see anything," they would use this and would say, "Member said they had a fraud last month." It would go into that queue, and then y'all would be able to match it up with that whole section you have now. So like what you're saying, it's basically for follow-up purposes. Yes.
Perfect.
Now,
And
I will-
another, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will say now for this travel notification one, that one will probably be getting with you. I have some meetings with Angela and the other teams coming up, but this travel notification one, we really want them to make sure they're using this plus emailing you guys at the beginning. And what this is going to do is kind of protect everybody to where if the member calls in and says, "Hey, I spoke with Dustin about my card and it's being declined. Well, whoever's on the phone can see if there was a travel notification put in because it would show on the screen. And if the book was open, then they would know it's not been worked. They could reach out to you for that. And then if it has been closed, then we could move forward, see what was going on with the card. And then for the time being, they'll still do how they do it with you guys, sending you the email. So you might get a little bit of email and thing at the beginning, but hopefully we can get away from them sending y'all emails. It would just be in the travel notification opportunity.
Yes, perfect.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
What else you got?
Other question. Crystal will probably kill me with this here, but I was wondering if it may work. Do you mind if I share my screen so I can explain what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay.
And one moment before you do that. One moment.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. That is basically how you do your script and working in the queues. We are here for you. Reach out to us. And like I said, we're working on documentation to let you know what is going on, things like that. And then once we go live, just let us know what's going on.
So we're just going to stop the recording now. Give us just a second.